This is a Saturday Morning TVLog from Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Welcome to another Saturday Morning TVLog, and this time around it's Saved by the Bell, brought to us by Peter Engel Productions and NBC Productions. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Doyle, the Big D to you. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So this week's Saturday Morning TVLog is Saved by the Bell, a teen sitcom created by Bobber, which though originally premiered in prime time on August 20th, 1989, the show would later go on to be would soon be broadcast on Saturday mornings on NBC. Later as the flagship series for the TNBC lineup. Now, although this was sort of a spin-off of the Disney Channel series Good Morning Miss Bliss, which was from the previous year, the show follows a group of high school friends and their principal at the fictional Bayside High School in LA. Now, primarily focusing on lighthearted comedic situations, it occasionally touches on serious social issues such as drug use, driving under the influence, homelessness, remarriage, death, women's rights, and environmental issues. Anyway, I didn't watch this much because I had other shows in the way, but still, I managed to catch a little bit of this when it was rerun. Now then. Now, here's what now, apparently, when its predecessor, Good Morning Miss Bliss, was out in 1986, Brandon Tartikoff, who was then president at NBC, asked Peter Engel to develop the pilot for a new primetime series, which was this show. Well, Tartikoff had been inspired by a sixth grade teacher named Miss Bliss and had long wanted to make a show about someone like her. The series would focus on Miss Carrie Bliss, a recently married sixth grade teacher at the fictional JFK, John F. Kennedy Junior High School in Indianapolis. Though Sandy Duncan was originally considered for the titular role, the series ultimately became a vehicle for British former child star Hayley Mills, who you know from numerous Disney films, including the original Parent Trap, Pollyanna, and many others. Veteran writer Sam Bobrick was brought on to write the episode, and the cast included future stars Jonathan Brandis, Brian Austin Green, who of course later went on to do 90210, and Jaleel White, who went on to play Steve Urkel on Family Matters. Now, the pilot aired on June 11, 1987, but NBC decided not to pick up the series even before it was shown. Tartikoff did not want to give up on the show, though, and made a deal with Disney Channel to air 13 episodes of the series in prime time. If the initial order did well, Disney was prepared to order an additional 77. The show was completely retooled, with Mills the sole remaining cast member from the pilot. And Miss Bliss's class was changed from the 6th grade to the 8th grade, and the kids would be more central to the story. The series aired for only one season, which I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it, but from 1988 to 89, but it failed to pick up a following and did poorly in the ratings. And by the time the final episode aired, Disney had already decided against ordering more. So after that, Tartikoff felt there had been strong elements to the series and wanted to try the show again with a different time slot and different approach. The elements featuring the kids had been well received, so Tartikoff wanted to drop Miss Bliss from the show altogether and focus entirely on the teens. The network had been losing the high end of their anime audience, which was NBC, which unfortunately this was the last year they would air their ratings giant, The Smurfs, which had started back in 1981. Kids from 10 to 12, which of course was their audience, so the idea was to create a live action comedy to air on Saturday mornings, a new idea at the time. Now, even though there had been other shows that already came out at the time, of course, most notably CBS's big hit of Pee Wee's Playhouse. But unlike this is more serious and focused on teens and what have you. So Engel was skeptical on the new format at first and did not want to make children's programming. However, his wife convinced him that making the show would be worthwhile endeavor, and he soon told Tarkov he would do the show. Engel felt, however, that Indianapolis was not exciting as a location and moved the show to a fictionalized version of an LA neighborhood, the Palisades. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. The main locations of the show will be the teenager school, Bayside High, and the Max, a fictional eatery they frequently crash at. Well, you get the idea. In addition, they would film before a live studio audience. The majority of the cast was replaced, and who I'll get to in a moment, and Tarkov gave a 7-episode commitment for the show. In a meeting with Engel and Tarkov, senior producer Tom Tinowich suggested the name Saved by the Bell. Though Engel hated the name, Tarkov loved it. The name stuck, and filming commenced, with the first episode, called Dancing to the Max, airing in primetime on August 20th, 1989. Now, of course, then soon Saved by the Bell would be a part of NBC's Saturday Morning lineup, where it would air along with, where it was one of the new shows to come to their lineup, along with Camp Candy and Captain the Game Master and the Karate Kid animators, plus their Juggernaut series, of course, the Smurfs, which was now in its final season, and the Chipmunks, formerly Alvin and the Chipmunks, as well as reruns of the anime Alf and its spin-off Alf Tales, which did have some new episodes, as well as their one of their recent hits, Kissy Fur. Anyway, now each week on Saved by the Bell, it really every episode proved to have such outrageously fun-filled stuff going around Bayside and the Max, and even stuff outside of the school. Especially with, how should I put it to you this way? Kind of like at the beach and what have you. That would happen later on in the series. Now then, now of course, with our characters, there were so many of them, but I'm only going to give you the ones that I was mostly more familiar with. First off, we would have. Now, first off, I'll get. Let me get to it. Oh yes, Zach Morris, who was mostly the main focus on this show. He's played by Mark Paul Gosselaar. The character appeared in several different television programs. He made a concerted effort to keep the character fundamentally the same through its various incarnations. Well, Zach demonstrates a flair for business throughout his teen years. However, in many subjects, notably history and literature, he is often seen receiving poor grades or displaying a lack of interest. But anyway, yeah. Especially if he even gets involved with the school principal, who I'll get to in a little while. Next up is Kelly Kapowski, played by Tiffany Thiessen, or Tiffany Amber Thiessen, as she was known as at the time. The most popular girl in school, and head cheerleader and captain of the volleyball, swimming, and softball teams. Though a hardworking student and role model, Kelly did find herself sense to the attention on a couple of occasions. And of course, later became Zach's love interest, and later wife too, which again, later, as long as I can remember. In contrast with her friends, she came from a more modest working class family, and her father went through periods of unemployment. Yep. Anyway, she was my favorite of the gals on here. I thought she was just a hot one. Before she went on to appear on 90210. Next, Samuel Screech Powers, played by the late great Dustin Diamond, who I will respectfully dedicate this video in his memory, since we lost him back since he passed away in February of 2021. So it's been almost 4 years since we lost him. Who is easily the goofiest in the group. Now, aside from Now, of course, I'll mention aside from Zach, he's the only one of only two characters to appear as a series regular from the beginning of the franchise to its end. In Good Morning Miss Bliss to this series. Screech is seen as the geek of his peer group. He is particularly interested in insects, electronics, and computers. While he is clearly a high academic achiever, he lacks common sense and social skills. Even though his theoretical knowledge of many subjects is quite high, his practical knowledge is often extremely low. For example, he builds an apparently sentient robot, yet he does not understand how babies are made. Screech's friends, who are more attractive and cooler than he is, still like him anyway and always include him in their plans. Yeah, I gotta say, he's really crazy. Yeah. The next member is Albert Clifford Slayer, or AC for short, portrayed by Mario Lopez, who, of course, was formerly on the kids' variety show Kids Incorporated. And, of course, he'd later go on to host the syndicated entertainment program known as Extra, if I am not mistaken. Yes. Oh yeah, and Access Hollywood, another show as well. And he later go on to host America's Best Dance Crew, as well as lots of other shows. Now then, well, AC is a popular jock who excelled in most sports, particularly football and amateur wrestling. An army bred, he's an outsider, having transferred to Bayside in the first filmed episode, which aired later as a flashback. He mentions that he has been to Bolivia, Italy, Iceland, and Berlin, among other places. He becomes the school star athlete, excelling as a wrestler and the quarterback of the football team, but does not excel in the classroom. Still, I think he's a cool dude, and I always refer to Zach as Preppy. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Yes, that's right. Next is Jessica Merle Spano, or Jessie as we refer to her as, played by Elizabeth Berkley. She's a lifelong friend of the gang, and she and Zach live next door to each other. And Zach regularly visits her by climbing through her window, but her parents are and while her parents are divorced, she lives with her mother, who remarried in the series' third season, providing her with a stepbrother from New York City, seeing only a couple episodes. Jessie is portrayed as a liberal. Well, she critiqued then President George H.W. Bush with strong feminist views. She is often the first to speak up when she feels something is unjust. Although seen as intelligent, Jessie has a somewhat neurotic streak. And then Lisa Marie Turtle, played by Lark Voorhees. Now, she did appear on Good Morning Miss Bliss. She's the rich girl of the group, whose parents both worked as physicians. She is frequently seen wearing designer clothing. Now on this series, Lisa spends most of her time fighting off the affections of Screech, who is relentless in pursuing her and eventually wins at least one date with her. And has been doing so since they were in kindergarten. Despite her irritation with Screech, she does value him as a friend and eventually comes to admire his nobility when he abdicates his position as a class valedictorian in favor of Jesse, who had a slightly lower grade point average than he did, but valued the position more. Well, and there would be more. Now, eventually there would be another one. Now, unfortunately, right about close to the end, we wouldn't get to see much of Kelly later on. We would get introduced to a new girl in Tori Scott, played by Leah Creel, who appeared in the series' final season. She arrives at Bayside during senior year, making an immediate enemy of Zach by parking her motorcycle in his usual parking space on her first date. Yeah. But there is one person who really can cause a little issue with Zach and the gang, and that's the principal himself, Mr. Richard Belding, played by Dennis Haskins. And he has appeared on Good Morning Miss Bliss. Although in that series his first name was Gerald, and the character was played by Oliver Clark. But anyway, now I am just gonna say he's easily a frequent nemesis of Zack. However, throughout the series, it is abundantly clear the two like and respect each other, arguably because in the episode Save the Max, it is revealed that when Belding was a student himself, he was a disc jockey and one who would rebel against school authority, prompting the comment that he was the Zach Morris of the 1960s. On at least one occasion, Belding has even called Zach the son he never had. Small joke was also that Belding was open about his past failures with women prior to his marriage, such as when he was in the army and in love with a North Vietnamese girl, where even she was with the enemy. Oh yeah, I gotta say this show would have been complete without that guy. Seriously, but nevertheless, there was lots of other characters throughout the show, but there's too many to mention, to be honest. I think the only supporting character I can actually recall on here is Violet Ann Bickerstaff, played by Tori Spelling, who would later go on to be on 90210. She's an early character appearing in 3 episodes in seasons 2 and 3 and was originally dating Maxwell Nerdstrom, but she dumped him in favor of Screech, who she commonly addresses by his real name of Samuel, as Maxwell had treated her poorly. Yeah. Um, but there would be lots of others guest appearances and what have you. One of them was a character named Ginger, who was played by Bridget Wilson, who actually would appear on NBC's soap Santa Barbara before she went on to appear in movies such as Billy Madison, The Wedding Planner, and the remake of House on Haunted Hill. Oh wow. And we see lots of other characters from the guys' families and what have you. We also see the owner of the Max, named Max, an amateur magician played by Ed Alonzo, who appeared in 20 episodes during the first 2 seasons. He often advises the students on Bayside on their choices and dilemmas, and reinforces his points with magic tricks. And the gang consider him a friend. Oh, the list goes on with the characters and what have you. Now, of course, the show is well known for its little number of a theme song, which was written by composer Scott Gale against the implicit instructions of Engel. Though he had not been able to keep the show from being named Saved by the Bell, he was determined to prevent the phrase from showing up in the theme. He gave explicit orders to his team of composers that he would not accept anything that referenced the title, and the group agreed to leave out the phrase. A week later, Engel listened to the first 4 composers, and though they followed his instructions, the songs were flat and nothing special. Gale played his song next. Though he explicitly violated Engel's instructions, Engel couldn't help but admit it was the perfect and the best for the show. So Engel would later comment that he was glad Gale had not followed his instructions. Anyway, after a total of 4 seasons were done and a total of 86 episodes were produced and aired, Saved by the Bell ended on May 22nd, 1993. However, it would be followed by 2 spin-off series. Saved by the Bell: The College Years, which only lasted for 1 season, but was a continuation though, which aired in prime time. Well, despite the original series had gotten canceled, they did a new series called Saved by the Bell: The New Class, with only Mr. Belding show up. And that series lasted 7 big seasons. Also, there would be 2 TV movies. One of them would be done in 1992, Saved by the Bell, Hawaiian style, and one post TV movie, which would serve as the series finale to the college years. Saved by the Bell wedding in Las Vegas, which is where Zach and Kelly get married and become husband and wife. So now you know about that. Over the years, it has been released on physical media. It's been released by Lionsgate and then Shout Factory and many others. The series is also currently available to watch on the Me TV network on Sunday mornings. Check your local listings if you have it. And also, you can. Oh, yeah, the series also later got aired in syndication as well as TBS and several other channels. So, anyway, yeah, and there have been numerous reunions and what have you. So, yeah, I really did enjoy it, and there was more recently a revival that got shown on Peacock, NBC's streaming service, which you can also find the original Saved by the Bell on as well. So anyway, I think that's your best chance to see Saved by the Bell. Get on physical media or stream it, or you can, or if you got Me TV in your area, you can check it out. But unfortunately, I'm not happy that they're still showing the former distributor, which is Rideshare Entertainment, when they should clearly stop and thank that NBC has distribution rights for this. Come on, you people, get it through your heads. Well, now I won't show you those shots, but you know what the characters look like. I'm sure a lot of you have watched Saved by the Bell when you were young or growing up. So enough said. So, what did you think of this series? Did you ever watch Saved by the Bell when you were young or when you were growing up? I bet a lot of you did. If so, let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. And later on tonight, I'll have a spoiler-free review of Moana 2 coming up. And of course, stay tuned for a Althea reaction as well. So, and though I usually show next week's Saturday Morning TVLog at the end of the video, I'm going to go ahead and point out that next week's Saturday Morning TVLog will be a double shot with the adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 and the Super Mario World animated series. Okay, now that you know about that, let me give you the Saturday Morning TV logs for the other three shows that came on at the same year Saved by the Bell did on NBC. The upper left hand corner is the Saturday Morning TV log on the animated Karate Kid. The upper right hand corner is the Saturday Morning TV log on Captain and the Game Master, and the bottom left hand corner is the Saturday Morning TV log on Camp Candy. And the bottom right hand corner is a button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Also, click the and subscribe as well. Be a part of the Big D Nation. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot. Saved by the Bell became a big success on Saturday mornings, beyond even the Bugs Bunny Tweety show. Okay, now that's over with. So until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.